stopped and the mic is on and you're here, maybe with caffeine in you, maybe not. My name's Mark Leslie Lefebvre, and this presentation is going to be Wide for the Win. It's more of an overview, but before I begin, I just want to get a bit of a feel from, everyone who's at home watching this right now, put up your hand. If no, I'm just, this is going to be a high-level overview, but how many of you have already published your books wide? How many people are published exclusively to Amazon? And then how many people haven't yet published and you're just curious and you're figuring that out? Okay, cool. This is going to be a high-level overview, and this is going to be my first example in the slides, is just to show you that sometimes when I'm beginning a presentation, and I was working on that even last night and this morning, I said, what did I say I was going to do? And I wrote in the description, so I made some bullet points and said, okay, I better make sure that these things are in the slide, and then I'm supposed to remove that before I put the presentation up there, so you get to see the early draft that my editor didn't cut out. But that's kind of what we're going to talk about, which was already in the description. But just the understanding, wow, of my throat, is wide publishing. The origin of the term is actually publishing wide, and the origin of the phrase as we think about it is KU versus wide, and that is basically being exclusive with your ebook to Amazon versus your ebook being available on all the other retailers. But to me, that's a limited way of seeing it. If you're only thinking about Amazon versus the other 4 or 5 big retailers, you're not seeing the whole opportunity that exists for writers. And I really want you to understand wide publishing, because truly wide, or aggressively wide, as Monica Lionel has coined and some of us love, is so much more. Not just retailers and not just libraries, other apps and platforms, new technologies that don't exist yet that we're open to, multiple formats, and also indie and traditional publishing. You don't have to only do one. You can do all the things. And I want you to always keep this in mind. This is kind of important, is that we think of this as books. We think of it maybe just as ebooks or print books or whatever, but it's way more. And it's not just this awesome baby of yours that you've created and launched into the world. It's your IP and it's your intellectual property, and I want you to remember that IP is yours. Even when you license your work to a publisher, even when you sign the exclusivity, even when you allow the retailers and libraries the privilege of having access to your books, the IP that created that can create other things, and the book is just one type of thing. And so that's a whole other wide mindset that I want you to be aware of, that goes way beyond just the platforms that exist, and that allows you to continue to grow and take advantage of new things that maybe weren't around 2 years ago or last year. So what's the benefit? Why publish wide? Here are just some of the things. The concept of the idea is so you're not reliant on, for all your income, a single retailer, that you have choice, you have control. If you want to sell books direct, or you want to do something, you want to mess with your prices or whatever it is, you're not locked in to the whims of one particular platform. And again, I'm not picking on Amazon. I'm just saying wide in general, not being exclusive with anyone. Although Amazon's the only one that tends to want to put authors into that role. You're actually available around the world, not just in the limited countries that a retailer is available in when you publish wide. Multiple streams of income is the most important thing about publishing wide, because if one of them changes or dries up, or the algorithms of the day don't work the way they used to, it's not as terrifying when you have other revenue sources that you can depend on. And that's why it's really good to maximize those in as many ways as possible. You have freedom and flexibility, and you have lots of options. I am a wide advocate. I believe in it, but I do believe that it's not for everyone, and I do believe that there's risks, and I want people to be aware of them. The biggest risk, I think, is KU FOMO, right? It's like, well, what would I be getting if I did this? And then, of course, the reduction of your income, which is going to happen. If you're used to Kindle Unlimited page reads and stuff like that, that's going to be something that's going to change, and it's kind of terrifying. It's the reduction of the ranking perks that you get in the Kindle store. When you're wide, you don't get those ranking perks, so it's harder to rank. And then having to do it all. You have to do this, not just on one platform, you have to do it on multiple platforms. And that can take away from the most important thing, which of course is writing, writing, and writing. And that's something that is going to impact you. It's going to probably make you less productive because there's a lot to do. And then there's the risk of being wide and then trying to pull your books out of the other systems. I love Kobo to death. Some of Kobo's partners, especially in Italy and France, are very laissez-faire about taking books down. Kobo will remove your book immediately if you want to go back into KU. They're awesome, wonderful people, great technology. And they immediately tell their partners, take this book down. And then I can say this because I'm French, they'll go, you English big dog, who cares, right? And then you get in trouble with Kindle Unlimited. And of course we all blame Kobo and Lefebvre or Mondadori, or we blame Fnac in France instead of the people who are making our lives miserable by forcing us to go exclusivity. This is not an Amazon bashing session. I do love Amazon, and I still make between 40 to 60% of my monthly ebook revenue from Amazon, and I love them to death, and they've made my life a lot better, but I do want to have that other source of revenue. And it's not for everyone. If you, and I'm going to show a book I wrote on the topic. I actually dedicated a whole chapter to why you may not want to go wide, and I had Mark Dawson guest, right? He wrote a really great post about it, and I asked him for permission to include it, because I wanted people not to just follow it because they think it's a trend they should do. I want them to make the decision that's best for them, and that's the important thing to walk away from, is what works for you, not what I said you should do, what works, because it's a lot of work. It is really a crazy environment, and I think you each have to measure the pros and cons yourself. I'm going to kind of spit some out there, but there's going to be other pros and cons that are valuable to you. So when I think about that, is like losing easy income versus the risk of losing it all. A familiar habit versus the unknown, right? I know what I'm doing on Amazon. I've done it forever. I can do it by rote. Again, having to only focus on a single store, that's a lot easier. Versus the time invested in learning about the rest of the stores, learning about the other apps, learning about the rest of the world. And then there's a really easy, I say easy, it's a lot of work, and there's some great people to help you with it, but it's pay to play if you want to sell on Amazon, basically. But it's built in, and it's right there, and everyone's teaching you how to do it, so that's so much easier than having to figure out, okay, what are all these other places, what are the other ways I can promote, because Kobo doesn't allow me to buy ads. Apple doesn't allow me to buy ads. How do I get traction on Nook? Those are the kinds of things that's hard. It's not as easy. I can't just insert a credit card and get more page views. And then the need of the one versus the needs of the many is one of the ways I think of that. Single source of income, multiple streams. And then, so I said FOMO of being in Kindle Unlimited, but there's also the FOMO of wide. It's kind of like, what am I missing? What am I missing on the other retailers? You don't know. There's a 100% chance you're not going to sell any books on Kobo and Nook and Google Play and Apple if you're not on there. 100% chance, I can guarantee that. And this is the biggest thing that I think about, is bank over rank. It's really cool to see your book trending on a single store. It's way cooler to get money. And that's the thing from the Wide for the Win group, and this is a shirt you can order from the store, but I love that. The bank over rank, Wide for the Win is really important. But mindset is your biggest obstacle, and it really is an obstacle we don't even see because we do things by rote, and it's really hard to step back. But it can also be your best long-term ally. And that's why thinking about growth mindset versus the fixed mindset, et cetera, that's why when I wrote the book Wide for the Win, is 75% of this 400-page book is mindset. And some people have been disappointed with that because it's, get me some tactics, give me some strategies. So I was like, no, we're not going to talk. It's kind of like wax on, wax off, Daniel's son. This is something you need to get into your habit of, the way you got into the habit of how you were going to maximize your Kindle Unlimited spending. You need to get into that first. The strategies and the tactics are going to change. There's a lot of smart people offering ideas that change all the time. I need you to get the mindset, and that's why that was there. But again, the other thing of mindset, and this is the other risk, is you're going to have people who hate this stuff. I actually kind of like when the haters come along, Because the wider you go, the more likely you're going to get into the hands of the wrong people who it's not for them, and they're going to crap all over your book. But then it's going to make your reviews look better, I think, than all 5-star reviews, because I call it the pineapple on pizza principle. I love it. I think it's the best thing ever. It's 10 out of 5 stars for me, but you probably don't want to be my friend because I eat pineapple on pizza. How dare you? That's the thing that's going to happen when you're wide. There's going to be more critics on more platforms. And that's kind of terrifying, but I think it's also a good thing. Some ideas to consider that I think are important, and this is a big mindset thing, is publishing wide is more than just publishing wide, if you think about that. It's not just set it and forget it, but a lot of people do that. You don't do that with Amazon. You don't just publish a book and go, okay, Amazon, you do all the work. And then you go and you share your links, and you go, okay, here's my book, it's on Amazon, here's my book, it's on Amazon, here's my book, it's on Amazon. And I got this a lot when I worked at Kobo. It's like, I published my book to Kobo, and you guys suck. I never sold a book. I'm like, well, I went to your website, and you're only linking to Amazon. And every time you share social media links, you're only linking to Amazon. And I was thinking, you're helping Amazon, and you think they're helping you. Like, it's a weird mindset switch. So when you're in a promo with the retailer, what are you doing, and how are you showing to them? Because there are humans at those platforms. What are you showing to them that you're willing to work hard to help yourself? Because they're more likely to want to work with you rather than just have you push. So that's a really difficult mindset. Even me, I get excited. I shared something yesterday. It's, my book is trending. It's in the top 10 on the Amazon store. I still share Amazon links, but I'm not exclusively. But I also then shared my universal book link for that book. So yes, the picture's from Amazon, but go buy it wherever you read books. And that's one of the things that, for mindset is stop linking to only Amazon. The retailers, the other ones, actually pay attention to that. And if you're having links on your website or whatever, make sure you have the links of at least the top stores. I use a universal book link because I'm lazy, but have the links with your affiliate or however you're doing it, but just make sure they're visible. They actually pay attention. When you submit to promos, they may go check out your website and go, well, great, why am I going to promote them? They don't even feature, they don't even link to us from their own website. So these are some of the things you can do. The other thing that I think is really, really challenging, and it's hard, is that 90-day tour of duty in Kindle Unlimited and, in Select, KDP Select, is going in and out is not going to help you. You have to commit. So it's a lot of work, and it's terrifying. And you're not going to make as much money, potentially, because you're not in that one platform, and you're going to have to learn things. But every time you take your book down, there are algorithms on every single site. Every time you take your book down and then go back up, let's say you've been live, your books were going for 3 months, and you're publishing, you make some sales or whatever, you get some reviews, and then you take it down to go back into Kindle Unlimited. When you come back, it's like pressing a reset button. Your temperature, your ranking, those algorithms are reset to 0 and you're starting again from scratch. So you have to go right back to the beginning of the finish line. You can't pick up the marathon from where you were. And that can be exhausting and frustrating and terrifying, and we do it to ourselves a lot. So the other thing, too, is you look unprofessional to the retailers, and you disappoint customers. I can't tell you how many times when I worked at Kobo, we had customers who would buy, book 1, book 2 in a series, and then the author would pull them all out, and they're like, but I want to get books 4 through 7. I see they're available elsewhere, but I only read on Kobo or Nook or Apple. And that's really heartbreaking when you think that you had a fan and you let them down. We want to give our readers the coolness that we are, and we've taken that away from them, and that's not very good. When you're doing cross-promotions with other authors is an amazing, powerful tool. If you're only cross-promoting with authors who only have the audience in Kindle Unlimited, that can be limiting to you. And it's not effective at the long-term building of a wide audience. I would stop advertising in newsletters that only include links to Amazon. Often they say, well, you have to be on Amazon, which is, I'd like them to change. I mean, you're probably going to be on Amazon, but there are a lot of them that are only linking to Amazon, so you're investing in, again, only driving people there. How are you going to build your sales on the other retailers without including links to those other retailers? If you go to the Wide for the Win group on Facebook, there's a really great tagged post that lists the top wide, and I grabbed some of the icons from some of those places where you can market wide. You got a newsletter, you're offering stuff to your readers. Well, why are you only offering, I mean, Amazon's a cool store, it's the everything store, but why are you only offering gift cards on Amazon? There's gift cards for all kinds of other retailers. There's gift cards for your local bookstores and other businesses that may not be Amazon-centric. So that's something you can think about. Or even, hey, I'm doing a Kindle giveaway. Why not a Nook giveaway? Why not a Kobo giveaway? Why not an iPad? Why not an Android device? Why not something else other than a Kindle? It doesn't mean you can't provide Kindles, but if I only read on Kobos, I'm like, great, I got a Kindle. What do I do with it now? And this is the other thing is, we look at our books on Amazon because, we're all a little bit narcissistic and it kind of feels good. But do you ever look at your books? Do you ever shop on the other platforms? Do you ever actually read on the other platforms? Do you understand the difference between the platforms? Apple and Kobo and Barnes & Noble, Nook, all of the people who work there come from the traditional side of the book industry. They have human merchandisers. Yes, they have algorithms, but they have people who make decisions on what's going to be featured. And they run a lot of promos. The inmates run the asylum at Amazon, actually, because it's all about how do we game the algorithm, et cetera. So Google and Amazon are very algorithmic based. So when your strategies for Google and for Amazon, you need to do a lot of algorithm stuff. On the other platforms, yes, algorithms help you. They do. When you do a pre-order on Apple and on Kobo, you get a 2x bonus ranking. Do you know that? A 2x bonus ranking on pre-orders for those retailers. And then I know they run reports to see what the hot pre-orders are based on their temperature and stuff like that. So just having pre-orders alone on those two retailers means you may get under the visibility of the merchandisers who then ironically say it's selling, let's feature it. And that's great because it helps you sell more. But think about how they do things differently on the different sites and not just the algorithms, and that's a different mindset. If you are just starting, I would consider maybe just start with another platform other than Kindle. Mark, that sounds insane. They're the world's biggest bookstore, right? But why not start smaller? You don't play at Carnegie Hall. You play in a local bar if you're a local band and stuff like that. You don't play in the NBA initially. You're playing basketball in the local neighborhood, that kind of thing. Think about that. Maybe learn another platform first, make some mistakes in not as big of a platform, and then take those learnings to the other platforms as well. That's just one thought. You can think about that. And then it's not as terrifying, on the big stage, world's biggest bookstore. If you're coming out of a tour of duty in KDP Select, it's difficult to learn them all at the same time because you know lots about Amazon. And it's like, oh my God, there's 5 other major retailers to figure out. You're not going to learn them all, and expecting yourself to do that is so hard. So hard. You're setting an insurmountable task, so why not focus on one? You can publish on all of them, but take some time and say, well, I'm an Apple person. I love Apple, so I'm going to learn everything I can about the Apple Store. I'm going to go talk to the reps usually come approach you secretly, like ninjas in the night, but there are a lot of great authors who've done great stuff on Apple and they understand it, and talking to them and learning a little bit more about that. And again, it's not just about the keywords. This is the stuff I've talked about with human merchandisers, etc. But at a conference like this, you've got people from Nook, from Kobo, from Google Play, and Amazon. Go talk to them all. Learn from all of them. Learn from the good folks at Draft to Digital, especially the very cute bald ones. You talk to us and learn a little bit about some of those platforms. If you're returning to Wide because you've done it before and it didn't work so well, and you're trying it again, I think about things like this. Okay, it didn't work for you, but I also didn't like broccoli and asparagus, and I love them now. I didn't even like beer. I know some people would be shocked, but I didn't like beer the first time I tasted it, and now I just can't get enough of it. Did those things change, or did I? And that's where it didn't work for me. Okay, what did you do? Did you actually promote the titles? Did you try things? Did you learn about them, or did you just put the books up and expect everyone else to do the work? You don't do that with Amazon. Why do you just publish at the other platforms without being active in your publishing? And then what has changed? Well, the industry is changing all the time. And that means that things may not have worked in one country for one retailer, and suddenly it's exploded because of some other factors that have nothing to do with us. You have promotional opportunities. If you're publishing direct to Kobo, Kobo Writing Life has a promo tab. Don't give it to everyone. You have to ask for it. But they'll give it to you because they're polite Canadians, and they'll give it to everyone except people who abuse it. And I think there's only, in the history of the tens of thousands of authors who have it, I think there's only been a couple that they take it away from because they just, it was just abused. But they believe in the kindness and goodness of authors and want them to have it. If you're with B&N Press, Nook's Publishing Direct program, they have a marketing tab, but they have a secret one, and you have to ask for it. Now, unlike Kobo, they don't give it to everyone. So, and you may ask again 6 months later, but again, they may look to see, what are you doing? Do you even include links to Nook on your website? Maybe they're more prone to include you and give you that, but they have some great opportunities. Google Play Partner Center has DIY promotions and pricing and coupon codes, which are just amazing. Draft to Digital and other distributors have promo forms. That's a link to the D2D promo form, so you can sign up and be informed of stuff. Smashwords store has coupon codes as well. And with coupon codes at Google Play, Barnes & Noble Press, and Smashwords, you can do some really unique things without having to worry about price matching. Right now, all of my books for writers on the Smashwords store are 75% off. So if you are interested in Wide for the Win or any of the other books that I've published, An Author's Guide to Working with Libraries and Bookstores, you can get it for $2 on Smashwords or full price on any retailer. And that's the kind of stuff you can do with various platforms. And when you're doing a promo like that, tag them in social media and say, hey, go get my books on B&N Press. Here's a coupon code. Or on Nook, because customers don't know what B&N Press is, but they know what Nook is. And then your author newsletter, obviously, where you own the platform, is one of the best places to do it, as well as those wide newsletters and platforms. Embracing wide publishing options is something I'm not going to get into in detail, but in a nutshell, my own openness to work with traditional publishers and to self-publish or indie publish, and being open to other platforms that aren't even book platforms that involve storytelling in some way, shape, or form, has actually doubled my income as a writer. If I was only dependent upon my indie author income, it wouldn't be as big as it is because of that. And it's an interesting juxtaposition because my traditionally published books are probably 90% are print sales. That's where I make most of my money because they put my book in bookstores and Costco and stuff like that. And about 90% of my indie sales, or actually about 80% of my indie sales come from ebooks. And it's starting to now be more print and more audiobooks. But again, it's an interesting thing. When I think about that percentage, when you're looking at how much is Amazon of my revenue, I look at how much of other opportunities for writing. I licensed the right to Haunted Hamilton, one of my true ghost story books, and that's great, but I kept the IP for all the research. They have the right to the audiobook, but they've never produced. They have the right to ebooks, which they don't know how to sell, and they have the right to the print books, which they do sell, fortunately, and it's why I like them. But when VoiceMap approached me and wanted to do a GPS-enabled ghost tour of downtown Hamilton, I just went back to my notes and I leveraged it, and it opens up with, and you can listen to the free chapter from anywhere on VoiceMap. If you do the one for Hamilton, it says, hi, this is Mark Leslie, the author of Haunted Hamilton. I'm going to take you on a half-hour walking tour of downtown Hamilton and some of its spookiest locations, many of which I wrote about in the book, but some of them are unique to this experience. And it's a whole different approach to the same topic that's not a violation of my terms with the publisher, because it's not an ebook, it's not an audiobook, it's a GPS-enabled walking tour. Embracing open is a really important aspect. You notice I keep going back to mindset, because that's really important to me. I love improv. I've loved to do stuff like that in theater, and one of the most important things about improv is the drop the no plus excuses. No, I'm not going to do this because. No, this doesn't work because. And embrace the yes and mentality. In improv, that somebody introduces something to you, you figure out a way to incorporate it in a way that works. You can still steer it in a different direction, but it's not a roadblock. It's a yes and mentality. Mitch Joel, digital publishing guru, Canada's Seth Godin, I like to say, because he's bald and smart and knows digital stuff, and he's really fascinating to listen to, has always said when it comes to technology, everything is with rather than instead of. And I'd like you to think about that for your marketing and promotions and wide, is everything is with rather than instead of. It's not Amazon versus the other places, it's Amazon with the other places. So when you incorporate a new platform, it's just adding to the whole. Embracing formats is important. We're here at 20 Books because Well, I guess initially Michelangelo was selling ebooks and realized, based on, the story, I don't have to get into it. But the reality is most people still don't read ebooks. Even though you have millionaires making money off of ebook sales, that's still such a small percentage of the overall market. Most people don't read. The people who read, still 80% still read print. And I know it sounds weird and bizarre. How is that possible? Because I've sold millions of books. That what I look at is I go, oh my God, there's so much more out there for us. There's so many other people who have not had the privilege of reading our stuff, the amazing things that we create in different formats. And that's why multiple versions of print, hardcover, trade paperback, mass market size, because you can't really get mass market without actually mass publishing, printing them in the real sense, audiobooks and different versions of audiobooks for different types of readers. All of those things help you expand and make your works available. Some of them cost a lot of money. The costs are probably changing because of technology, but those formats are important. And global sales. Amazon is a great retailer and the largest ebook store in the world, but they're not in every country. Kobo is, Google Play is, Smashwords is, Apple's in most of them. Well, Nook is in this big country we're in today. But think about that. There's different customers with different viewpoints and different ways of selling. Even Viblio, one of the partners of Draft2Digital, which is primarily it's in France, primarily French books, they started featuring English language indie authors on their French store because they realized that they actually had a lot of English readers and they wanted to cater to them. So I'm like, yeah, we'll help you out. We'll tell you some really cool titles you should feature there. Kind of caught me by surprise because I was expecting them. You have free author branding tools. Obviously, Author Central is a great one. It's free. You can put some stuff up and provide content. And again, for that, keeping people on you and your books. But Draft2Digital has books2read.com, where I have like books2read.com/Mark Leslie. And I like to say that the author pages at Books2Read are like Author Central for all the stores. I can feature whatever books I want at the top. I can put my carousels. I can have my traditionally published books alongside my self-published books. I can change it up. BookBub has free tools like that as well. You can go in and create an author profile. Even if you're not getting BookBub deals, even if you're not using BookBub ads, why not allow people to discover you on all the free platforms that are existent? Goodreads, et cetera, also exist. In-person selling is such a great thing. You may spend a lot of money marketing digitally and online, but the minute you stop inserting your credit card and pulling that lever, you see this is a casino thing, right? So it's Vegas. See how I applied that? I'm so creative. But the minute you stop putting the card in and pulling the lever, your book's no longer visible. In the print world, the average print book is handled by 7 different people. Jim Bain, science fiction publisher, said long time ago that your book cover is a billboard. Thinking about that, I put money in. I was like, I have $100 to spend in ad revenue. I'm going to put an Amazon ad up, which is great because the self-fulfilling prophecy means my Amazon sales will continue. But the minute I stop paying that, usually things go down. If I invest $100 and give print books to people, that book is still there. It's on a shelf. It's being read on public transit. It's being passed from friend to friend. That book is advertising for me long after. I don't get the benefit of the analytics, but I get this strange long-term benefit of marketing. I sold the rights to a short story to a publisher, an academic publisher, which I still make money off of every term because it's used in a high school textbook because of a print book. And I actually got a rough photocopy from the publisher of one of my short stories in a self-published book that had never appeared anywhere but in this book, and it really didn't sell that many copies, maybe 500 copies in total, and it was we'd love to reprint this, can you take out the sex scene, because it's going to be for high school students. And it was just one of those things, but had it not been available, that somebody bought, maybe it was in a used bookstore, I have no idea how they found it. They found it because it was a physical entity, not something that just disappeared when I stopped feeding the machine with my money. And again, because I write, spooky stuff and ghost stories, I travel with a skeleton and I've embraced that brand. So people, when they see me, the marketing's right there. They either know to avoid the crazy bald guy with the skeleton, or they see the skeleton and go, oh my God, that's my cup of tea. And they come running and they love what I have to do, which is why My girlfriend beautifully dressed up as a ghost nurse and walked around with haunted hospitals as well, which is why I have a sign that says Ghost Stories Told here. It's a great icebreaker. People come up and go, oh, you can tell me a ghost story? I'm like, well, what do you like? And I will tell you something. And again, Barnaby at Costco, which was actually amazing. And again, that was a traditionally published book, but a lot of other ones can be self-published. Embrace the brand. Embrace who you are as an author and what unique value you bring. Embrace your specialty, because you probably have a specialty. Patrick O'Donnell, for example, retired police officer who's helping other writers and has embraced that brand and that specialty to help other people. But we also, when I think about, I need to know more about this, I know who to turn to, I know who I can ask. You have a specialty you can probably leverage that may or may not connect to you in your books, but you can leverage that outside of just the books. Embracing libraries is amazing, because here's the other thing. If you're leaving Kindle Unlimited, how are people going to read your books for free? Well, everyone can read your books for free at the library, not just people who pay a corporation a monthly subscription fee. Everyone has access to your books. And if you're Canadian, please write down publiclendingrate.ca, because you can make more money off of having your books available in the libraries. I'm sorry to folks outside of the 36 countries, including Canada, who don't have public lending rights like the US doesn't, but please embrace that. But again, I can say, go get any of my books in any of these formats at your local library. They are all available. But I want you to embrace your imagination, because you guys are writers, you're storytellers, you're creators, you are imaginative. You're going to hopefully have gotten some great ideas from things I said that had nothing to do with what I said, but had something to do with what you did with it, because that's where the power lies, in that IP that's spinning around and all the ideas that you come up with. You are going to be the best champion and the best pioneer of your own unique path. And I want you to embrace that. And hopefully you've taken some tips away, and we have about 12 minutes for questions. This is a blank slide, and this is the thank you slide, where you're supposed to applaud heartily so I can feel good about myself. But if you have any questions, please come up to the mic.
Hi. What story-related platforms should we research?
What story-related platforms should all of them? No. Pick some. Were you here on?
Some examples, perhaps.
Well, Ream Stories is a really cool one, right? Okay. Which is really about creating a relationship. But there's so many out there, and I honestly say, go and post this in the 20Books group on Facebook. Go and post this in Wide for the Win, and there will be hundreds of authors who say, I've had a great experience with. And I'm far from an expert, so my apologies for not offering that. But Ream is one that I've looked at and I'm really excited about, and I thought, okay, this is not just something you put stuff on, this is something you engage in. So if you pick a story platform, go learn about it, look at it, play with it, and recognize that you're going to have to invest in that community in some way in order to make it work. It's not just, oh, I'm going to stick it up there and something's going to happen. So for Ream is a great one that I'm very interested in learning more about, and that's one I would suggest. But I'm sure a dozen other people in this room will recommend stuff to you. So let her know if you got some great story platforms that you guys like, because that's what this is about, right? Helping each other.
Hi. I actually read somewhere, I don't know where I read, that a good place to sell books, like hard copy, your actual physical books, is that a farmer's market?
Oh, God, yeah. So here's the thing.
I never really see people doing that.
Yes, so true. Here's the thing about in-person selling like that. Like, I go to Comic-Cons and stuff like that, but there's lots of comic books and book readers and media and other whatever. But when I go to farmers markets and other places where I may be the only book person, the people who read stick out. One summer, for example, at a local craft brewery, because I love spending the day at a craft brewery, they had a vendor's market in the front area. And we all went there, and it was like $25 for the day for a Saturday. So all summer, every Saturday, I was there with my tent. And there were other vendors, of all kinds of other vendors, and fruits and vegetables and local farmers and stuff like that. And there was like craft popcorn and artists and stuff. But I was the only book guy there. So people who like books came in. And because they had free Wi-Fi, I had some digital download codes, which you can easily get from BookFunnel as well, so you can get access to their email. You say, hey, They have free Wi-Fi in there. Why don't you just download this to your phone if you want something to read? It's, you know, I'll sign the card for you so you have something to remember it for. And one of my, and this I never forget this, one of the guys who grabbed one of my books came out 45 minutes later. He was already 5 chapters into the book, and he goes, "Can I buy that?" I said, "Dude, I just gave you the book for free." And he goes, "No, I want a physical copy. I want an autograph." He's one of my biggest fans to this day, just because of that experience. So a friend of mine does medieval book fairs. He writes epic fantasy, and he dresses up in his knight regalia. And he sells way more books there than he sells at the major Comic-Cons and stuff like that. So any of those places where you can define yourself as the big fish in the small pool, so at that local fair, you're an international world-selling author. Like when I was at Costco, for example, I outsold Stephen King that day, that one day in that one store in that one city that I was at. But my skid, Dr. Sleep, and Spooky Sudbury were beside each other, and I took a picture at the beginning of the day because I'm like, oh my God, I'm beside Stephen King. And then at the end of the day, my skid was way lower. No, if he was there, they wouldn't have even known I was there. But that was an example of being, and all the people at Costco weren't there to buy books, but the people who were, who liked reading, oh my God, there's a real live author here. Those events can be gold, and you've created an experience for a reader that may create fans forever. Thanks for asking.
So I'm moving to wide from Amazon
Yay!
only. So
Yay!
I've been doing it for a little while. But
Yeah.
one of the problems, one of the things I ran into is that I can't reuse the Amazon ISBN. So do I need to always get a new ISBN every time I go somewhere else? Because then I end up with 5 ISBNs.
Here's the beautiful thing about if it's ebooks, you don't need them.
Yes,
Yeah.
I mean paperbacks.
Paperbacks, you can get free ISBNs from places like Draft to Digital as well, because you can't use the ISBN that Amazon used, right? Because that's
Okay,
that's
right, they won't let you.
Yeah.
But if I go to Draft to Digital, I can reuse that same one with
No,
other stores?
you can't. That's Amazon's ISBN, unless was it your ISBN that you bought?
No, right, so,
Sure.
so if I go to Draft to Digital now,
Yeah.
and I get a new one,
Yeah.
a new ISBN, the
Yeah.
Amazon one stays on Amazon.
Yeah.
But the
And you
other
make more
one can
margin
be
direct on
used-
Amazon anyways,
But the
right?
one from
D2D, yeah.
D2D can go ahead and be uploaded to Barnes & Noble?
Yeah,
Without
exactly.
them
It
having to
it
use
goes
those?
everywhere Ingram distributes, which is all online
okay,
bookstores
okay.
and whatever. So, and if there is a duplicate, Amazon's really good at, if it's the same ISBN, if it happens to be, just so you know, if it's the same ISBN, they'll just go, hey, we got it already, we don't need yours, Ingram, right? That's what they do. And if it's a
okay.
different one, sometimes they just repress it because they go, well, they make more money when they sell theirs than a third party. So I wouldn't, you should be okay. I
Okay.
think, yeah. You
Okay.
just can't take that ISBN that was given to you by a retailer or given to you by a distributor and use it outside of that distributor. You allow them to push it.
Okay, well, I ran into
Yeah.
this with Barnes & Noble, and so then
Oh.
I've been using theirs also. And so,
Yeah, so the same thing would happen. So it may go to Barnes & Noble, but Barnes & Noble you may even contact them and say, yeah, you make more margin probably direct with Barnes & Noble, right?
Right.
For the print sale. So you don't want to compete with yourself and make less margin. So
Right.
maybe, and I don't know, to be quite honest, if Susan McCullough from Nook is here, she might have a better answer.
Okay.
But I'm going to ask her and try and post that maybe in this thing online, or try and, give me your card and I'll see if I can get you the answer.
cool, thanks.
Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Criticisms, 1-star reviews?
Hi, so when I was on Industry Day, I was walking around and talking to the audiobook producers
Yeah.
and asking them what they look for when people are doing submissions. And one of the things that almost all of them said was that they look specifically at Amazon Rank and Amazon reviews. There were a couple that said, if you're wide, we'll consider the other stuff too, but do you just like ignore the ones that just specifically look at Amazon?
No. They look at it because it's a really good platform. They look at Amazon for the ranking and reviews because it's easy, and that's that mindset. It's a good place to start. But let's say you don't have a lot on Amazon, but you do have great reviews on some of the other platforms, or it's ranking really well because it's selling Kobo in Canada or in South Africa or Australia or something like that, that's not really as easily visible. Sharing with them where it's doing well in a different territory is beneficial to you. And that's big fish, small pool again. So even if it's not trending on Amazon, you can still leverage the other platforms, even if they don't by default look at it. Again, they can't go look everywhere, but can you help them in your pitch? So that was a great question, thank you. There's another question or no, any? Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of strategy, I have seen some authors be like, well, these series are wide, but I have like this one series, my series is in KU. What is your opinion on that strategy, pros and cons?
Okay, so that's a great strategy, because the other thing too is taking all your books out of Kindle Unlimited is terrifying. You may want to test market it. Some of the things that I've seen that's weird is I'm going to take my least performing, worst books that don't sell and put them everywhere. Oh, they didn't sell. Maybe it's the book. I don't know, but and that's a criticism. But it is like, okay, I'm not making anything on Amazon, but at least I can test and learn about the other stores even if I'm not selling. So that can still be a good strategy, but it's also a lot less terrifying than being dependent upon it. I have a secret for you. I've always had at least one book in Kindle Unlimited since the hour they launched it. I was sitting in the Kobo office and I put a book in Kindle Unlimited. And I've kept at least one there always. And one of the reasons is I need to understand it. And I have done a lot with Kindle Unlimited. I was not very good at it, but I did play around because I need to understand it if I'm going to help authors, because I do have clients that I work with directly who are exclusive, so I need to understand what they can do. But that being said, the idea of starting here and moving out slowly, or even just focusing that maybe this genre or this series, and the more overlap there is, the more you may be limiting your ability to grow. You know, it's like, oh, I like this series and I'm done. What else is there? Oh, on the platform I only look at Apple and it's not there. I guess I move on to another author. Or do I move on to another series by my favorite author? So that could be a long-term way where they don't have access, or they only read your books in the libraries and they can't get any of your other books now. So that's something to think of. And just under 2 minutes, so I'll try to be quick in my answer.
There's a topic a lot of people have talked about here.
Yeah.
Direct selling.
Yeah, direct
Have you
selling.
heard that people have been talking about that?
Oh, I think direct selling is never going to. No, I honestly think so. Direct selling is the place where you control the customer relationship better than anywhere else through any retailer, and you get the most margin.
So let's say hypothetically,
Yeah.
you have your books on your own Shopify site.
Yeah.
But you're also talking about universal book links. Like,
Yeah.
would you put the way
Yes.
to get to Nook and Kobo and all these other places right there next to your add to cart here and buy here thing? How would you reconcile
But
those?
personally, I don't want the consumer to be limited in the way they want to buy or read my book. I want them to have all the options. So actually, heck, if it was up to me, I'd have the universal book link right on the Smashwords store. Why not? Why not make it, you say, okay, I'm going to drive you here because I make the most margin for not direct selling. Why not let the customer decide where they want it? So for me, I want to allow customers to buy it where they want it and not limit them. Now, that's my strategy. That may not be the best one.
That's on Smashwords, on like your own
No,
Shopify.
on my own website. Yeah, my
Oh,
own
okay.
website. I already use universal book links and stuff, and so, and I know some of the universal book link places allow you to do those links, and I know Drafted Digital will be adding the ability to just add any website once they're able to build the technology, so scammers can't send you to a virus site. Yeah, if it's a free tool, scammers will use it to hurt people. But
Thank you.
great question, thank you. And thank you guys so much. If you have any other questions, I'll be hanging out here until they kick me off the stage to talk to people, but also I'm still around, and thank you guys so much.